Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. So I've made my own colour for this creation. It's got a blue base, blue tones to it. I will show you how I mixed it up and I will take you in for a closer look so you can see it before I pour. So today I have a large canvas. I'm using just paint and water combinations, a blue colour palette with a splash of gold and silver. It's a large canvas and I just want to dive in and do this. So let's see what we can create. So here's my colour palette. I've been using blues in quite a few creations recently. I've also got a couple of those metallics there, the gold and the silver, all mixed with just paint and water. But this is the colour that I've created. So I've been mixing two colours together to create this one. I'm using both Pebeo, Payne's Grey and the iridescent blue black. So I've mixed those together to create this colour here. And this is what's going to go on my base. So there we go. Look at that. I just love that shimmer. Payne's Grey's got an undertone of blues anyway, but that iridescent, you can just see there how it's shimmering in the light. I've got all these colours here. I will list everything in the description box. You'll probably spot a couple of favourites. The Prussian blue, metallic blue, skylight blue. In fact, what am I on about? They're all my favourites. Here are the brands. So let me just take you across so you can see I've got a range of Amsterdam, Arteza and Pebeo. So they're all my colours. I will of course list them all in the description box. They're the two colours that I've mixed together to create that base colour. So, as I say, I will list everything in the description box, but just so you can see the colours that I'm using here today and my large, long canvas. And I just wanted to show you before we get started the length of the canvas and all my paints around me, so it may look a little bit chaotic, and what you don't see normally on screen is my environment around me. And we focus mainly on the table where we're doing the creation because I really want you to see all my step-by-step actions I take on a creation. But just to give you an idea today, this is my table, my paints are surrounding me, most of them are over here for the colour palette. I've got my base close to me because that's what I'm going to start with. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that. So let's go. So let's get the base coat down, and it's that colour that I made myself and I absolutely love this colour. So I always say if you can get your base coat right in terms of coverage and consistency, the rest should follow. So I'm just going to spread this paint out. I'm just tipping the canvas up just to see the flow. And then I'm going to take my palette knife and I'm going to spread all this paint across the surface area of the canvas. I'm doing it this way just to minimise any wastage. I don't want too much paint to drip down on my table. So I'm going to place the canvas back on the stands, take my palette knife and spread all the paint across that canvas. I'm just going to use the torch. That's just to pop any air bubbles that have been created whilst mixing the paint. Remember, this is just a paint and water combination. So with my first colour, I'm going to almost give myself a guide. So I'm going to do almost like the letter M. Maybe that's for Mark. It can be for anything. But think about a shape that you want to place on your canvas and use it as a guide when you're layering your paint and you're blowing out the paint. So I'm just softly adding a little bit of paint to the canvas just to kind of get my shape, get my composition, because once I've got my shape on the canvas, I can then layer all those other paints on top. I really like this. It's got good composition in terms of where I layer my paint. It's got enough room for me to blow the paint out and also have some negative space. So I'm going with the M or the W, as you can see on your screen, And I'm now just going to layer one colour on top of each other on this shape. Don't forget, all the colours and lots of information is included in the description box. So expand that, and then in there you'll see that I add all my ratios, all my consistencies, all the brands of paint that I use, and lots more information. And if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. It's completely free for you to do. Just hit that subscribe button and you'll be notified each time I release a video. And if you're enjoying it, please give it a thumbs up and share it out if you can. So I'm just adding the last bit of gold. I've got enough paint on here, enough volume of paint as well for those colours to really showcase themselves. So I'm just going to use my torch. This is just to pop any more air bubbles that are formed in the paint, and then I'll blow the creation out. I am of course going to use my blow dryer, and it's going to be on a cool setting and the lowest blow speed. But first of all, I'm just going to add a little bit more of that paint on top of these lines. So I'm just blowing some of the base on top of those colours, and then we can start blowing out the creation. So to start with, I'm starting in this corner. And then once I've blown that corner out and over the sides, I'm then just going to take my blow dryer and I'm just going to follow the line. I'm just blowing out each side until I get to the other corner. And then at that point, I can step back, have a look at the composition. When I mean composition, what I'm saying is have a look at how much your pattern has spread across the canvas, balanced with the negative space. I want quite an equal split, so I want the pattern to obviously showcase itself, but I also want that negative space because I think the negative space is really going to help the pattern pop as well. So think about your composition when you're blowing the creation out. Do you want your paint to go over your sides? If you do, then maybe add a little bit more volume and blow further towards the edges. Or maybe you want it similar like the one I've done today. But really kind of just think about that as you're going through your creation process. Here, I'm just getting eye level with the canvas just to check to see if there are any large puddles on the canvas. I don't want deep puddles in certain areas because that will really affect the consistency in terms of the drying. So I'm just going to use my torch one more time just to pop any existing air bubbles, and then I'm going to take you in for a closer look. So here we go, this is the wet version. I'm going to take you in for a closer look now. Apologies for the glare that you might see, either the paintings that are already on my wall, the reflection of those, or the light. But let me just show you some of these details and how those colours have really infused and worked really well together. I'm of course going to just set this to one side, and then I'll take you in for a closer look at the dry version. And remember, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and share it out if you can. I'd really love to reach more people across YouTube who might be interested in the work and the channel that I create. And here's the dry version. I'm really proud of this one. I love it. I love the blues. I love those hints of that gold and that silver that run throughout this creation as well. So just to reflect, I made my own base colour. I did that by mixing two colours. This is just a paint and water combination. So my ratios were 1 part paint to 1 part water. I used a blue colour palette with a couple of metallics, that gold and that silver. And I used a shape initially to help me with my guide of layering my paints and then blowing them out, thinking about the composition in terms of the pattern and the negative space. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope you've had a lot of fun like I have, and I really hope I get to see you again in the next video. Enjoy your creativity, explore and evolve. I'll see you next time. Bye.